Welcome back to my channel. My name is Chandra and I make videos about reading, writing, and all things books. Today's video is part 3. I didn't say I was going to do it, you didn't ask for it, but I did it anyway. I review my past book reviews, unfinished series, because why not? These are just a series that I haven't finished, but I'm like this close. And then I was just like, nah, who knows? Number 1, The Chronicles of Narnia. I should probably just read the last book. I haven't read them in a really long time, but my niece really loves them, so just so we have something to talk about, I think I might go back and reread those. Number 2, The Mortal Instrument series. I've been watching the TV show, kind of, but not really. It's very YA, and I've fallen out of love with YA. But also, spoilers, I really shipped Kari and Jace. Kari, is that her name? I feel like that was her name. Whatever, the girl's name, and Jace. And then their siblings, and that was just like, I felt like I needed to wash my own mouth out with soap, you know? Maybe I'll finish it eventually. I was pretty far into it too. It's got a little bit of a stink on it. So whatever. Number 3, Stephanie Plum series. The first book in this series is One for the Money. You may have seen the movie. I really like the series, but there are 28 books in the series, and that doesn't include the shorts. And I'm on book 10. I feel like I should get like a trophy for this. I do enjoy the series. I just needed a break from it. After 10 books, I feel like that's totally fair. I'm still enjoying it. I'm also buying all of these books secondhand, and it's getting harder to find the next book in the series. I may have to start ordering them, but I really was enjoying just, grabbing some paperbacks, and they were pretty cheap. And now they're getting more and more expensive because I'm catching up, and there's like fewer of the ones that I'm looking for. And it's just, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I got to find the next book. And I also have to finish reading the one that I'm currently reading. It's probably on my currently reading list, so I should just go ahead and do that, shouldn't I? Anyway, not here to judge myself. Moving right along. Number 4, the League of People series. I'm obsessed with this series. I literally tell everyone about it. I'm super annoying about it. It is my favorite sci-fi series. It is also one of the first sci-fi series that I started reading. So that was awesome. It was funny how I stumbled across it because the library in my teeny tiny town had the 5th book, and someone gave it to me. I was like, hey, you should read this. I just finished reading it from the library. And I read it, and then I was like, what? This was amazing. But I didn't know that there was more, and the library didn't have any more. And then I found it at my local used bookstore, and I bought the entire series. And it just takes me a little bit longer to read because I am dyslexic and I struggle sometimes. So I do a lot more of my reading through audiobooks than I do through physical books. It's just taking me a while. It's not that I don't love it. I'm currently reading book 4. And there are 7. I'm going to reread book 5. So I'm about halfway there. I have already bought them all in advance, as I mentioned, so this one shouldn't be as much of a problem to continue to read. Number 5, the Fever series. I had read all of the books in this series, but a new book recently came out. But then I went back, I started to read it and realized I didn't remember exactly what had happened the last few books. So I need to go back and reread them, which I started doing. And I started with my favorite book, which I think I've read 3 times now, which is it's weird because it's in the middle of the series and it's not from the original main character's POV. It's from her friend's POV, but there's more than one book in the series that has the same POV. Anyway, it's a whole mess. But also, I will not lie, there are some problematic things in this series. And I'm going to read it. It's on my currently reading list. There are some problematic things, and I it's kind of vampire to human age gap-esque. But it's also omniscient? That's not the word I'm looking for. It's also reminiscent. Why did I put omniscient there? That doesn't even make sense. Reminiscent of grooming, and that's uncomfy. I really like the characters in the book. I think the character is aware of what's happening. I don't think that the author is implying that it's okay or a good thing. I think it's the story. But I also don't know, and I don't really read like the asides and author's notes and stuff like that for some reason. I just, like, if it doesn't start before the story and it's not on the page numbers of the story, I don't really read it. Which is a separate conversation. But I don't know that the author makes it clear to the readers. And I need to do more research on this. And I may have to follow up so I can eat some crow. But I really don't feel like the author makes it clear to the readers that she's aware that this is bad, that maybe the characters are aware that this is bad, or that this is not romance. I think there's a difference, for me, there's a different standard for what's okay for romance and like thrillers or like other genres where this is not being elevated as the ideal. This is the story. It's not good or bad. Like, don't read this, don't use it. Don't read this as your Bible. Don't use this as an example of a good thing. This is a story and there's bad things that happen in the story. I think the differentiation is important. Because it doesn't change the cringe factor when you're reading it. So that's where I am on this one. I think that's maybe why the books that are upcoming are the ones where it gets a little bit more into that gray area, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. And so that's slowed me down from going back to reread those parts so I can read the last book that came out. I shall think on this. Anyways. This concludes, so far, my 3-part series. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you next time. Bye.